Hi there, members. I'm meeting you today with a pretty cool exploration. And it's about different states of consciousness that we can access and locate in our own body through the awesome and oh so simple, but not easy, technique of shifting what we're doing with our consciousness, what we're doing with our attention. So we're going to be exploring the differences between bone consciousness, muscle consciousness, and fluid consciousness. Now, of course, there are many, many different ways that we can explore consciousness in the body, but these are three that are really useful because they're easy to access. We're familiar with them. We're familiar with our fluid nature. We're familiar with our bone. We're familiar with our muscle. And they're really, really great to call on when we need something to shift in the way that we're feeling. So we'll start with bone consciousness, move to muscle, and then fluid. Now, depending on what's happening in your days, there are times where you feel like you need more form. You just need more form to your day. And often we're taught to externalize that need. So I need more structure in my day, something like that. And those are wonderful, wonderful techniques. But there's this other way when we can't control our environment, when we're unable to control our environment, that we can find more form. And that's by coming into bone. So I'm inviting you in your exploration to go into this for minutes at a time. I will just be going in for a little taste just to show you what happens when I go into bone consciousness, muscle consciousness, fluid consciousness, just to see if you can notice anything from your end. So I'm literally going to be starting to focus on my skull, my clavicles, the bones of my arm, my sternum, my spine, the bones of my pelvis, my legs. And something gets very quiet in me. There's a stillness to bone consciousness that I find. And something relaxes in me. I feel my skeleton. I feel that I have shape. I feel that there is a brilliance and a perfection to that form and to that shape. It fits together just so. And now I'll be moving from bone consciousness. So this is really different. If you haven't explored this before, I'm really excited for you to explore this. You can take it as slow as you need to, but just thinking about the bones being what is inspiring your movement. Yeah? So you can think of all the times that you've watched a skeleton dance even, and move from your bones. And just notice what happens in your state. Is there something soothing? Is it agitating? It is particularly good when you're really seeking more form or more structure. Then we're going to move into muscle, which might be a little more familiar. Muscle engagement. When I go into it, I'll even do very typical things like flex my biceps and my triceps and my quadriceps, my inner thighs, just to find, oh yeah, it feels squishy. So now I'm moving from my muscles. And again, take it slowly enough that you can really feel what muscles are moving you around now. So you can even probably hear there's a change in my voice. It's squishy and dense and strong. And there's fluid in it, but it's got a lot of And then just notice, come back to a neutral state. What does that offer? What does that do? Fluid is incredibly, incredibly luscious. Fluid also gets very subtle, depending on what fluid you're feeling. And fluid is often associated with our feminine nature, the oceanic being that we are. That which is just responding to all the waves and all the signals and all the information that is surrounding and within. So I'm going to come into, oh yeah, I know this one well. You might even, if you want to get specific, focus towards blood, or if you know anything about your lymph fluid, or perhaps you've had some cranial sacral work and you know what it is to come into the cranial fluid, cranial sacral fluid. Yeah, when I come into different layers of fluid, it's got different viscosity, it's got different density. But there's something so relieving, really, for the one who is getting tight in these winter months here in the Northern Hemisphere. To just come into the lusciousness of fluid, and especially where you wouldn't necessarily think fluid. So in the knees and in the ankles and, of course, through the hips and the belly, fluid through all the joints. Yeah. So I invite you to see what these different states of consciousness in your body offer. And the reason I say that it's really for you to explore, particularly this one, is that it's almost like calling on the medicine you need at different moments. So, oh gosh, my life just feels kind of out of control. If only things were more ordered. I'm going to come into bone consciousness, and I can be in the practice of riding bone consciousness all day. Not that it's going to be easy to stick with if you're doing other tasks, but moment by moment, just like any meditation that you bring into your day to day, it can be, come back to that bone, come back to that bone. If you need to feel something that has strength to it, integrity, hugging in, as if you're being held or hugged in, muscle consciousness, move towards that practice. If you want to feel more of the lusciousness in your body, if you want to feel like, I can come into just being with what is as it's moving. I need practice surrendering, yielding. Come into that fluid and enjoy. And as always, if you have anything to say about this practice or any of the practices we send your way, feel free to contact us. We're here. Much love to you all. Thanks again for being part of the membership. It's really, really, really what keeps this whole song and dance called Honeyroot going. Thank you so much.